I think one of the most common questions that we are frequently asked is, what should I buy? What year? What problems exist with different years? What makes and manufacturers have various problems with them? What is currently in need of repair that I may not have seen myself? When's that next major service due? How much is it going to cost me? Has it been wrecked and put back together and so pretty that I can't see it? Again, before you buy, be advised. And if you're buying a diesel or a gas truck, you want to listen very closely to our next guest. Also, you're going to want to use them after your purchase. And I am pleased and privileged to welcome James Wood with Dynamic Diesel Incorporated. And we're going to discuss completely the pre-purchase or pre-sale inspection process today so that you can get a better feel of what that looks like. And James, welcome to our show.
Good morning, Mitch.
So I mentioned a minute ago, the pre-purchase inspection process, and if you can start with a little bit about what you do once they've done this narrowing down process and eliminated vehicles that are not worthy of even bothering to bring to you for an inspection, but now they found something that they're really interested in buying and they want to have it checked out. What are you going to do when they bring that to you? What kind of process are you going to put that vehicle through?
I'm going to put it through a minimum 1 hour inspection. What I mean by 1 hour, I look at the time that is posted to the invoice and ensure that, this wasn't a 15-minute quickie. Okay, I want to ensure that it went on a test drive. I want to ensure that my mechanic is honking the horn. I want to ensure that, the wipers were checked, and that's all visual stuff that is exterior. But then if I look at the punch time on the invoice and he has an hour and a half on it, I know that he saw some stuff and he's taken extra time to write everything down on a 1 to 2 page parts or services needed to this vehicle. And then I go into my office and I start a quote. And it goes item for item, services needed, axle fluid services, the horn doesn't work. The brakes are low, and consumer comes in, they want an inspection done on their truck, and we actually do this on every vehicle that comes in.
So it's not just that you're going to say, okay, your horn doesn't work. You're going to tell them this is the cost of the part, this is how much labor it's going to take to repair that part of the vehicle.
Right, and it's not a China-made part.
Well, and thank you, because parts selection process that you use, that's a big part of what you do in Dynamic Diesel. That is why we advocate our consumers take their trucks, diesel or gas, to you, is that you only use top quality parts. But on the inspection process for a minute, if you will, I want to give them some idea of how deep the inspection process is. It's more than visual and in driving, but you put them up on the rack. You're looking for frame damage, corrosion. Let's describe some of the things that you've seen over the years that you've saved the consumer the grief of buying a vehicle that, because of your inspection process, saved them, the grief.
Well, honestly, our company was looking for a newer vehicle for our day-to-day operations. Running across town, grabbing parts, going to the bank, what have you, grabbing lunch, And we had thought about purchasing a vehicle that we very rarely saw. For anything, we very rarely saw. And it had 150,000 miles on it. And like I said, we inspected it. Before I got to the rest of the vehicle, I had $7,000 worth of estimates just on the engine.
Okay, so and this is a 150,000 mile car that probably wasn't worth $7,000 if it was in perfect condition.
No.
So it's really quick how fast these things can add up. And one of the things I mentioned is people always probably ask you, the most common question they ask you is, well, which truck should I buy? And where do you begin with that?
Well, it actually goes towards what you're going to need the vehicle for. Are you going to be hauling a trailer? Are you going to be using it for day-to-day operations? Do you expect any mileage out of the vehicle? Is a diesel the right one for you? Diesel fuel is getting expensive. The economy of the diesel, is it best fitted for you on a day-to-day basis? Or is this going to be a weekend warrior type vehicle where it's going to be pulling a trailer, you're going fishing, you're going hunting, you're taking the kids out on the top of the mountains for a picnic in the middle of the summer?
Are you towing a 6-horse trailer behind it?
Exactly. I mean, 6 horses is $1 million in some cases.
Not to mention probably 12,000 pounds worth of weight to pull behind something.
Exactly. So there's a lot behind. Okay, is the braking system sufficient enough for what you're doing? Is the vehicle in normal operating conditions? There's a lot to think about on, is this the proper vehicle for what you're going to be doing? If you're going to be hauling a 10,000-pound trailer, a 3/4-ton vehicle should be sufficient. But if you're hauling a 30,000-pound vehicle or trailer vehicle combination, a 3/4-ton is not going to do it.
So you're going to do a needs assessment, basically. You're going to determine where they're going to drive, what they're towing, how many miles a year they're going to be, and then you're going to make sure that when they're done, they're DOT compliant. And I think a lot of people don't realize that their vehicle, if they're not DOT compliant, they can be out on the road, get pulled over, and then their truck is not allowed to move if it's not DOT compliant.
A Jeep Liberty cannot be hauling a 30-foot yacht.
So you can get pulled over and then specifically left there on the side of the road and unable to move a vehicle if it isn't brought up to the right standard. So first thing, I guess you're starting with a needs assessment, and then you're going to do you mentioned to me something, and I really want to bring this up. I hope you don't mind, is that there is, even if you then decide, okay, this is an appropriate type of vehicle, weight classification of a vehicle, then in each make and each year and each engine within those makes and years, there can be engines that are more, or even from year to year, that are better than others to choose from. And I think that's one of the huge parts about dealing with an expert in these vehicles is the knowledge base. So I'd like to take a minute, if you will, and talk about the knowledge base of how deep your business goes in this. And we were talking recently about the 6-liter motor, which is in a number of years of vehicles and probably in hundreds of thousands of vehicles on the road, and a very common engine. Some of the things they should know about just that one, just to establish the knowledge base about just this one engine, and yet you have all of them in your repertoire of knowledge base. But let's talk about that 6-liter, what a lot of consumers have them. They may even have one now, what they need to know about that 6-liter diesel motor.
Well, basically, the 6-liter motor was made from 2003 to 2007 in the Ford F-Series truck. But it also is more expanded in the E-vans, in the shuttle buses and stuff like that. So it's a lot more broader range than just the pickups. And then the international trucks, they have them in there too. And what we're seeing is, EGR coolers are failing, caused by restricted oil cooler flow. Now, what does my oil have to do with my EGR cooler? Well, they're both cooled by coolant. Okay, and the oil cooler failures cause a lack of flow to everything else. And because they got mineral buildup, sand deposits from the production process, these are all things that are on the internet that you can research and read. The 6 liters, they have, inherent turbo problems. There's certain updates and aftermarket products that can be put onto this engine to make them more durable.
Well, and let's talk about that. So you can replace the original equipment oil cooler with a superior oil cooler.
And EGR cooler, yes.
An EGR cooler. And one of the things that you would advise somebody if they brought one in for a pre-purchase inspection is, if this was necessary to do on the vehicle they were looking at, and how much it would cost them, so that they can actually adjust what they're going to pay for it to allow for these types of repairs to be made.
Exactly. They need to be well notified of the inherent failures on that particular engine. Not only the 6-liter, but, as mileage increases on the 7.3 Ford engine, the 6.4 that came out in 2008, and then we're moving on to Dodge and Chevrolet and everything, just by our experience and our years of knowledge. And everybody can confirm all of these failures that we're talking about on every year, make, and model with simply an internet search.
Well, but the thing is they can come to you, and your knowledge base of all of the different makes and years and engines of each of these vehicles is so deep. They don't have to sit down and try to figure it out themselves. They come to you, you know it. It's like the back of your hand.
Exactly.
You've studied it.
We all talk about this stuff every day.
And I hope they got that. I mean, the level of knowledge, the ability to really look at a vehicle and know exactly where to go to look for, to advise a consumer on the pre-purchase inspection is really critical to them making an intelligent, educated, prepared, informed decision before they make that purchase. One of the things, and I've got a number of decades in the industry, I've established that as well, that I didn't realize on that 6-liter motor is that there's a second fuel filter, and a lot of people that even own them are not aware of it. Tell us about the 2 fuel filters on that vehicle.
Well, when you purchase a fuel filter from pretty much anybody that I've seen that sells them, it comes with 2. Well, when the truck comes in, I initially ask, how are your fuel filters? What's your maintenance on your filters? Well, I changed the one up top, but that one's kind of difficult to get to down on the frame rail. Okay, well, at least you know it's there. That is your primary fuel filter that contains, probably a good 50 to 75% of the debris in your fuel. And if you don't change that, it causes the fuel pump to overwork, a lack of fuel volume to the injectors, and that causes a big problem with those engines.
Well, the other thing you mentioned is the debris that will pass them once they're fully clogged, that will get in through the fuel injection process, and the costly repairs you've seen from people that just failed to change those on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly.
And you also mentioned that they should be changed more frequently than even the manufacturer recommends. In your opinion, and what you would recommend to a consumer is that they're changed how often?
On the 6-liter, I would recommend 15,000-mile intervals. We do know they're inherently expensive to do. They're not fun to do either for us. They're not the easiest. It's not like you're standing on your feet doing these filters. You're on your back, or you're lifting the vehicle up in the air, cleaning every drip that fuel filter makes on your frame rails and stuff. So,
well, and I've heard that some people will actually go even a little overboard, maybe. But I think preventative maintenance may be some of the least expensive repairs that people ever make. But I've heard some people actually changing those every oil change.
That does happen also. But, what you got to think about is you take a truck that's a weekend warrior. Okay, they might put 10,000 miles a year on their truck. And then you have a truck that every day, 365 days a year, is towing something. So you take they're going the same amount of mileage, okay, but they're using twice as much fuel because they're hauling. Everybody knows that has a diesel pickup, you get 17 to 20 miles a gallon unloaded. You're getting 10 to 13 loaded. You're going the same distance, but you're using more fuel. More fuel, more debris, the more service intervals you need for the filters.
So even though you may only do an oil change by mileage, the fuel system should be maintained more regularly. And this is a type of needs assessment that you can do with a consumer and make sure that they're not overspending or underspending or doing too much or too little, but what's appropriate for them.
Yeah. Service intervals are for a couple $100 or whatever it costs for service intervals is really cheap compared to a fuel system repair.
Well, in the inspection process, too, you mentioned that you have seen people think that if I'm going out and I'm buying a low mileage vehicle, that I really don't have to worry about much. It's only got 5,000 miles on it. It's got to be nice. It's less than a year old and it's only got 5,000 miles. And you were laughing about that the other day with me, that the mileage shouldn't be the reason that they just assume things are good. Tell us a little bit about your opinion on that.
Well, whether it's 5 miles or 500,000 miles, there's something that has been abused. I saw one time where this man had inherited an F-Series pickup, had 40,000 miles on a 6-year-old vehicle. Well, there's got to be nothing wrong with it, right? There was so much algae buildup in the fuel tank because the vehicle never went anywhere. It just sat there in a high humid climate, and algae just clogged up the fuel pump, the fuel filters, the fuel tank,
the fuel injectors,
everything.
The combustion chambers, everywhere.
Yeah. It was amazing.
You're talking $10,000 worth of cleaning it out.
Exactly, and you know what? He fixed it.
And what should somebody know when choosing a repair shop for their truck, and why Dynamic Diesel is our preferred diesel and gas motor repair shop in Northern Nevada? What should they know about a shop?
Well, how experienced they are on the product that you have. I mean, we've been in business for so many years now. We consider ourselves, level 2 and expert on certain years, make, and models.
And you've been at it for how many years?
Oh,
Close to
20, somewhere 18, 19 years now.
It's just that level of knowledge and expertise that we're advocating that you look for. And if they want to get a hold of you after the show, how do they get a hold of you?
You can call me at on my cell, 745-2515, or on Monday, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 359-4477.
And that's Dynamic Diesel Incorporated over there in Sparks, Nevada, #1 truck, gas, and diesel repair center in northern Nevada. Before you buy one, and if you're looking to sell one too, we talked about this before too, it's a great opportunity for a consumer to have a pre-sale inspection and let somebody know that I am selling you a quality product. That can actually increase the value of your vehicle by having them inspect your car before you sell it and inspect one before you buy one. Again, Dynamic Diesel Incorporated in Sparks, Nevada. James, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Mitch.